Okay, we're ready. All right, let's call this November 6th meeting of the Town Council order. We'll start with the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. I see we have no speakers, no presentations. We've got the council minutes, which we actually got via an email. I will move, we accept those. Is there a second? A second from Scott or Jason? Doesn't matter. Any discussion, any changes? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Police report, Chief.
Man, we're moving right through this. I'm up here kind of quick tonight. All right, good evening, everybody. We can start with the chief's report for the month of October. To kind of recap everything, we had basically 9 meetings and trainings for the month, just to kind of highlight things. Corporal Halterman attended First Line Supervisor School at the Maryland Police Training Commission. He was there for about a week. I attended the Garden Club Blue Star Memorial Marker dedication at Pine Grove Chapel on the 19th, which was very nice. The Links to Shaladon hosted the first annual Mount Airy Police Department Golf Tournament fundraiser, which hopefully is going to be a yearly event. They actually came to us and offered that up, and it turned out very nice. It was a good time. We actually participated, the mayor and Councilman King here. We all were on the same team together, went out and had a good time. So it was very nice. Everybody, we had about 100 plus participants in that and had a good time. 125? 125, right.
It's about sold out.
Right,
Yeah, 144
About
is a
sold
full
out.
flight.
that's great. We handled roughly 436 events this month. In the beginning, there was some confusion because this month everybody's is going from one CAD system to another, and Keystone is coming online. So there's a little confusion there. I'm not sure about these numbers, how close they are, but I think they're kind of ballpark for the best part. Next month, we should have a more clear picture of what we're doing, because we're all on the Keystone system now. So should relieve any confusion. We handled 1 assault, 8 CDS drug violations, 5 malicious destructions of property, 9 domestic disputes, 4 forgeries, 3 harassment cases, 1 missing person investigation, 3 overdoses, 1 telephone misuse, 17 thefts, and 1 authorized use, just to kind of highlight the calls that we handled this month. As far as traffic enforcement, we made 167 total traffic stops during the month. Out of those 167 stops, there was a total of 222 violations. There was 1 DUI arrest. We issued 42 citations, 155 warnings, and 25 repair orders. So your citation to warning ratio is about 5 to 1. 5 warnings for every 1 citation. So just to keep you posted on that. We're still trying to get the community acclimated to us being here, having a broader police presence.
Excellent, excellent.
And get the job done. So, criminal arrest wise, we made 8 criminal arrests for the month. 2 were in Frederick County. It was taken to central booking in Frederick County. 1 was taken to Carroll County central booking. We had 4 incidents where there was a civil or criminal citation issued, and then there was 1 criminal summons issued for a case that we handled. Just to highlight a couple of the major events this month. Again, we talked about the golf tournament with Shaladon. I'd like to thank the general manager, Ben Sproles, and everybody that was involved in that, including all the town staff that worked very hard. Again, there was 125 participants. It was very well attended. It was a very momentous event that allowed the police department to get out there and interact with the citizens on a personal level, which was great to see everybody out there. It raised roughly around $6,000 for the department, and these funds will be used to put back into the community. We'll use it to support our programs such as Shop with a Cop and National Night Out, which is events where we involve the community and so forth, and we can put that money back into the community, so to speak. Again, the Mount Airy Police Department became the town's primary law enforcement agency on October 1st. This was an extremely important milestone for us. The transition has been relatively smooth with no to very little problems. We continue to work with our law enforcement partners to help improve our service. We also would like, again, to thank the Maryland State Police for the number of years of dedicated service to our town. We did have several thefts from vehicles on October 19th down in the Twin Ridge area. We investigated roughly 20 separate vehicle break-ins where they were entering the vehicles through various means and stealing property from the vehicles. The police department would like to really encourage everybody that if they see anybody suspicious in their neighborhoods, please call the police department so we can get someone out there and check them out and see what's going on. Also, we would like to encourage everybody to park their vehicles in well-lit areas, keep the windows closed and lock the doors, and please don't leave valuables to include wallets, purses, and backpacks in vehicles or any type of valuable items in plain view, which makes the vehicles a very tempting target for people out looking for stuff like this. And again, reminder that we're getting closer and closer to Christmas. People are going to be purchasing Christmas presents, and sometimes they leave them in the cars. You know, what we need to do is limit the opportunity for people to want to gain entry into those cars and steal items and so forth. So I'm just asking everybody to be very vigilant with that. Another highlighted item is we had a good arrest and for possession with intent to distribute controlled dangerous substances. On November 3rd, we received a complaint of a suspicious person at the Mount Airy Apartments. Upon responding to investigate the complaint, the responding officer developed probable cause to search the suspect's vehicle. The search resulted in the seizure of a controlled dangerous substance, and it was packaged and in such a quantity that it indicated just distribution. The suspect was arrested and taken to the Carroll County booking facility. So again, this goes into the suspicious persons. You can see what happens as a result of that. You know, you give the police department a call, and we show up, and we look into it when we find something like this. So, you know, my compliments to the citizens that are paying attention and made the call on that one. So it was a very good call. And basically, the future activities, we are starting our Shop with a Cop program for 2017. We are partnering up with the Optimist Club from Frederick, who's contacted us, and we'll be partnering with other law enforcement agencies in Frederick County as well to work with some of the children and so forth. So, and basically that's just an event where they select so many children and through various means, and they're identified as being, you know, they need some assistance there in their family through the schools and so forth. And then Walmart supports a program. They're actually picked up by a police officer, taken to a Walmart, and they shop together, and then they take it to a church. I think it's the Trinity Church up in Frederick, where we will take them there, and they'll wrap the presents, and they'll have a luncheon for the kids and everything. It's a good time. So we look forward to participating in that this year, and that's my report.
Sounds good. Any questions?
Just a couple comments. Congratulations on that Mount Airy apartment issues. I've been involved in town government for close to 10 decades. I've been hearing about trouble
10
there.
decades?
2 decades. it feels like 10 decades, but it's only been 2. But I've been hearing about issues at the Mount Airy apartments and been wondering why we can't do anything. And within a few months of having our own police force, you have successfully achieved a drug bust. That is just fantastic. Also, I received a couple calls after Halloween from citizens, and one citizen went on and on. I was waiting for him to say, I support the police, but I support the police, but he never did. He actually talked about how happy him and his neighbors were all to see your vehicles driving around with their blue lights on. And actually, then in another community, I got a phone call, you were actually handing out candy. That is excellent community outreach, and I just can't tell you how great it is to get those public comments, to see that the bus finally at the Mount Airy Apartments. There's a couple hot spots, you've already hit one of them, so great job.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, sir.
Sounds
Call you
good.
Chief, but yeah,
Thanks.
I guess you are the chief, so.
Well, after serving for 10 decades, you know, you can.
That's after all.
All right, fire company report, Bruce.
Well, first, just to follow up on the chief's report, we were happy to be asked to participate in the ribbon cutting of the temporary police station. We're glad to see that we are developing a good working relationship with our partners in public safety in town. So, good job there, Chief.
Thank
Our incident summary report for October: rescue calls in Carroll, we had 95, 63 in Frederick, 4 in Howard, 2 in Montgomery, for a total of 164. Fire calls, we had 16 in Carroll, 7 in Frederick, and 1 in Montgomery, for a total of 24 calls. We always like to see that number small. So that resulted in 111 calls for service in Carroll, 70 in Frederick, 4 in Howard, and 3 in Montgomery, for 188 calls. We have our Big Country Breakfast on the 19th, and prior to our next town meeting, we will be having our open house on the 3rd of December with Santa at the firehouse, and we will have our holiday craft show up at the reception hall also on the 3rd. So if you need to get ready to buy those presents that the chief's going to make sure nobody steals, come up to the craft and vendor show.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, citizen concerns, community comments, or the other way around there. This is a time when if anybody has any issue they want to address the council on, we ask you to come up to the podium. We set aside 15 minutes for the whole time, so we ask you to all keep it reasonably quick and short. And identify yourself, although we know who you are, Dick, but still people on TV don't.
Dick Swanson, 1107 South Main Street. And Tina Swanson, who is the chair of the Beautification Commission, organized a walk through East-West Park and Windy Ridge with Mike Kay, who is with the Department of Natural Resources. He's the project manager, Forest Services in Frederick County. And he gave an outstanding, glowing report on that park. He said that East-West and Windy Ridge is approximately 95% pristine forest. And he said that is probably the best example of pristine forest in all of Frederick County and the surrounding area. With that in mind, I'd like to just talk a little bit about what the master plan says about Windy Ridge. And it says, as I drop my glasses case, it says, the intent is for this park to be largely passive recreational area because of topography and limited access features through residential areas that make it most suitable for this type of use. This is consistent with the strong preference shown in town survey for this purpose. I would like to see that park does remain pristine and is not used for other purposes, given the fact that we have a great natural environment in this town. And it's been suggested that there be explanation markers or to explain to people who walk that trail exactly what they're looking at. And I strongly encourage the town to do that. When it comes to the people who are interested in more sports facilities, and that has been brought up upon occasion for Windy Ridge Park, the master plan goes on to say that the best long-term solution to these needs is a single sports complex of sufficient size to accommodate multiple games at the same location. The Lashir Farm portion of the potential Harrison-Lashir annexation has been earmarked for this purpose. The location north of town and adjacent to Route 27 is convenient, easily accessed, and will minimize noise and traffic complaints in the neighborhood. So we could solve both of those problems and match the desires of the end of the master plan by keeping the pristine nature of a Windy Ridge Park and East-West Park, and at the same time pursuing Harrison-Lashir. I haven't heard an update in a long time, so I'm curious.
It is being
What's coming?
pursued.
We're actually
We
drilling.
actually had
We're test drilling now.
We've
And-
actually had some meetings fairly recently on that.
And I just say, along the same lines, it's come up over the last 6 months a number of times about ATVs and use within the town. And my concern particularly is on the town-owned property, not so much the streets, although that is a real problem. But our town code is, chapter 74, talks about SUVs, ATVs, snowmobiles, and on. And it says, no person shall operate a motorcycle, moped, motor scooter, scooter including but not limited to a vehicle that is commonly known as trail bike, mini bike, dirt bike, or all-terrain vehicle, snowmobile, or other similar vehicle or motor vehicle within the corporate limits of the town or on town property except upon public highways to the extent permitted by state law. That, to me, pretty clearly says that any discussion that deals with potential areas where you could see ATVs is out of the question at the current time due to the town code. And I know it's been mentioned as recently as I believe the last Park and Rec meeting, it was brought up about considerations of that. So I'd just like to remind you, the town code does prohibit that. So that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Dick.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Carl Munder, 2002 Fieldbrook Lane, Sterling Glen neighborhood. I'm just coming to say a thank you to the mayor and CC in the Carroll County Public School System. Keith Shorter, the Director of Transportation, I believe that's his title, or Assistant Director, and the Transportation Department of Carroll County Public Schools. Several months ago, I came before the council and asked for the help, or the mayor's help, to get a bus stop moved into the neighborhood off of Buffalo Road to save about, I think, the total of 45 to 50 kids from having to cross Buffalo Road and snaking along Buffalo Road to get on it, to get on the school bus. And after about a week, the Carroll County school system came out, looked, and took care of it and moved the bus stop into the neighborhood. And I've heard nothing but happy thoughts and comments
Good.
for that. So just saying thank you.
If I could, actually, the credit goes to Carl. He's being very humble. He actually pursued this vigorously. He wouldn't let it go. He did a lot of legwork, and you know, I just wrote to Keith a couple times, asked him to reconsider, and Keith did it, and you did it, and thank you, Carl, for making that happen for your community.
Okay, thank
You're a
you.
great advocate.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ashley Collier. I'm the Main Street Manager for the town of Mount Airy. I wanted to take a moment to thank everyone in the community that came out for our Spook Trail. It was the first annual event that we had, especially an evening Rails to Trails event. I'm happy to report we had about 900 people come through Rails to Trails. About 600 of those didn't even know it existed. So it was a great way to highlight some of our gems of Mount Airy. So I just wanted to make sure those that couldn't join us for the night that they knew that we did have that. It was a great success, and I have a lot of support for next year. So I hope the town and the council will also support that for next year. Coming up, we have a couple events I'm going to let the mayor talk about in his report. But moving into
Go ahead,
spring.
you do it better than I do. Go
Are
ahead.
you sure? Okay. So we have holiday preview coming up on November 17th from 5 to 8 downtown. That event is now years into the making. 3 years we've had carriage rides, hot cocoa, live music. This year we'll have cookie tray sales and some other fun stuff. So please mark your calendars. So that's the 17th, 5 to 8. We also have the Christmas parade, a Main Street Christmas coming to town the first Saturday, and that will kick off about 6:30 with a tree lighting with our brand new Christmas tree, which everyone should come out and see. It's going to be spectacular. And then we will have the parade and Santa and the caboose after. So going and looking forward to spring. If you have not signed up to participate in the parade, we are still taking participants. You can go to our new website. There's a link for sign up. Any questions, call Town Hall. Feel free to ask for me. In spring, we have some events coming to town that are changing a little bit, and I'm really excited to announce this. But the Chili Cook-Off has for years been something that MAMSA and 4 County Lions has just really stood behind and brought to our town. But this year, we've been approached by both groups to see if the town can work for those events. Since they're volunteers, they're taxed with the new carnival and some other projects that they're working on. So the merchant community downtown has come together, and they're going to be coming with the town staff to go ahead and plan and execute this event. So be looking for that in spring. We're looking for sponsorships and partners. So if anyone's interested in joining us, we would love to have you. We're also going to tie in all of our nonprofits. So if you're with a nonprofit, please make sure you reach out to me. And we will have some Valentine's events coming up, so make sure you're checking our Facebook. Any questions?
I'd like to give Ashley a round of
Yeah, I
applause
would
for all
too.
the stuff that she's done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Scott, towards that end, the town actually bestowed a nice little letter of accommodation and a little bitty bonus on Ashley. I heard nothing but great comments about that spooky
Thank you.
trail.
Thank you.
So sad I couldn't be there. I won't miss it again. I mean, the rave reviews I heard were, I think you got a much larger turnout than you even
Oh, yeah.
expected.
I didn't
Yeah.
advertise.
What a great, I mean, this was Ashley's idea to do this. She executed it all by herself. That's what our staff does, you know, almost on a daily basis. They do a great job. Just want a good
And we'll be
example.
looking for volunteers for that next year. So if you like Halloween, please come see me and save all your decorations if you're going to recycle them this year. Also, one thing I forgot to bring into the conversation, Spring Fest and Fall Fest will be coming back to downtown. So that is a
Yay.
sneak peek, but please be looking out for more information. And again, we'll need your support for that.
Good. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
Good job.
Evening, everyone. Pete Ballas, Mount Airy Historical Society, here again this month. Appreciate everything that the town does for the Historical Society. From our members, again, thank you. I want to remind all the citizens of Mount Airy, last month when I was here, I shared about the Hall of Fame nomination forms to fill out, to send in an individual who is worthy for consideration for the Hall of Fame in Mount Airy. And as strange as it would seem, a whole month has passed. We still need those nomination forms. So if you put it off, I'd appreciate it if you worked on it. The month is getting away from us. They are due by the end of November.
Pete, can we ask staff to, again, work some of their magic on our Facebook page and post that, get it out there?
Sure. The form is on the town website page, and it is there, and we appreciate that very, very
We'll
much.
just put it up there a little bit more.
Thank you very much. Next thing I wanted to talk about are two great Christmas ideas that the Historical Society has, because it is going to be Christmas. It is going to be Christmas. And the first is the vision of home, the vision of home. And if you had a vision of home, if you'll indulge me for one more minute, if you had this vision of home, you would know that in November the 21st of 1952, this is for you, Mr. Walsh, members of the Mount Airy Volunteer Fire Company at a special meeting ratified and approved an action of a 9-man committee in purchasing an ambulance to augment the facilities and equipment of the local volunteer fire unit. And the citizens out there, if you had this book, you would know that. We have a great fire company, and you would just know this. The fire company agreed to pay $5,800 for a 1952 Cadillac, which had been in, the committee had come to Mount Airy, and it was inspected by the fire company members. Solicitation for funds with which to finance the cost of the vehicle started immediately in November of 1952. Bruce, what would that ambulance cost now?
$270,000.
Times have changed. So anyway,
It's not even a Cadillac anymore.
you're right. It's a big Pete. It's a big Pete. We've had family members ride in that Pete. But anyway, I wanted to share with everyone, these are available at the Basket and Blossom Boutique every day. The Vision of Home book and the history, thanks to Dr. O'Brien, of a rolling slice. Mackenzie comes to Mount Airy, be a great Christmas present, a stocking stuffer at the Blossom and Basket Boutique. Appreciate. Let me wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Pete.
All right. Ordinance and resolutions. First two are here for introduction. I'm going to do them at the same time because they're really related. That's Charter Amendment Resolution 2017, which is a pay raise issue, as well as Ordinance 2017-20. I will introduce, Scott, actually, it's yours. You want to introduce?
I will
both of them?
introduce both together.
And I will second both of those. We will look at that next month. I had just two issues that I wanted to raise. Tom, one issue that hit me when I was going through this is there's a
Which one?
concern that we
The
would.
two that we just introduced?
Yeah, the two we just introduced.
Okay.
Just a concern that if we were to vote on this, we may lose our pay. I didn't see any type of a continuing clause, because we will not have voted on anything. Just want to make sure it doesn't happen.
Can you clarify your question? What do you mean we'll lose our pay?
Well, it states that the council will, vote on what their pay is. Since that
only
has not
within-
taken place, I'm curious as to whether or not our old pay will continue.
So only within
Yes,
the,
because you're currently, what it leaves in place is the current ordinance, which sets forth your salaries.
it doesn't take anything away.
Okay.
All it does,
Go ahead.
it's kind of cumbersome because
It
you have
was
both a
cumbersome,
charter
yes.
provision and an ordinance that say the same thing. So all we're doing is stripping out a specific salary amount from the charter, simply saying the town council is empowered to set the salaries. But it
Okay.
leaves in place the current ordinance, which defines your
Okay.
current salary.
Question answered, thanks.
It's very similar to, you remain the council president until voted out.
Right.
It's that
Well,
same-
but see, that was my question, is whether or not we were dealing with that type of an issue, whether or not we would be
Right.
retaining the old one. Okay,
And
good.
just so the public knows, we're talking about salaries. Correct me if I know my salary. It's $8,500 a year, and the town council is
4,000 a year,
$4,000 a year. Okay,
yeah.
so we know. what
And we're not, and there's
Huge
nothing,
salaries we're talking
nothing involved in this is actually increasing the salaries. It's just
Changing the process.
changing the process a little, or expanding the
Involving
process.
the public.
All right. Next up,
So three
we've
is
got,
reintroduction?
we introduced both of them, so
No,
they're
no,
both on.
the third one.
Yes, well, next one is ordinance 2017-15, which is here for introduction and to set the town code. This is the outside dining one. Scott, you want to
And
introduce?
I'll reintroduce it.
And I will second that. And public hearing, 7:15, unless you expect a lot of discussion.
I don't.
Debbie, 7:15, December meeting, good? All right.
For that particular issue, we need to do some postings and some outreach just to make sure, whenever it impacts the neighborhood.
Right.
2017-17, budget amendment to move $5,000 from the swing to rails to trails. Larry, this is yours for introduction.
Yeah, I'd like to introduce that, ordinance
I will second.
2017-17.
Bob will second that. All right. Ordinance 2017-18, budget amendment adding the grant received for the farmer's market.
Who wants to introduce?
Yeah, who's that? Does that
I'll-
kind of fall fit
that's
under you, doesn't it?
introduce-
Yeah.
introduce, I'll
Introduce. Okay, and I'll,
Second.
you got a second from Scott. And then ordinance 2017-19, this is the budget amendment for
I'll
the
introduce
downtown master
Veronica.
plan. You're introducing it?
I'll just
And-
introduce it.
And I will second that.
Monica's not here. I'll let her talk to it.
Right, and she gave us a packet on it.
And Bob can address it.
Basically, when we talked about this in the budget process last year, we only put